This is Monk. Monk wants to make a movie.
I want to make a movie. It's got this guy in it, and a girl. And there's this villain, and a car chase, and a spaceship. Oh yeah, definitely a spaceship. And a whale, a big white whale that you never see. That's piloting the spaceship. Oh yeah, that's a movie.
Now, making this live-action movie would take money, and actors, and sets, and a whale, and a lot more money. But along came Machinima, and the ability to use video game assets to make an animated story. And into Machinima came the movies game, and the movies online. And it was good. TMO opened in 2005 as an online repository for movies made with the movies game. For the next 3 years, more than 145,000 movies were uploaded by more than 32,000 filmmakers. And those filmmakers left hundreds of thousands of reviews, often friendly, sometimes constructive, and usually including a request to watch my movie. TMO fostered a community of filmmakers, voice actors, musicians, modders, and friends. Then, in 2008, TMO was shut down.
And now an update on a story that is unfolding at this hour. It would appear that game maker Lionhead Studios is having major server problems. I was just handed a statement from Chief Tech Officer. Really? I'm a bonehead? And I quote, "Problems? What problems? Seriously?"
Luckily, a few months before the shutdown, Ken White had a vision called TM Underground.
TM Underground wasn't supposed to be here 7.5 years after it started. It wasn't even supposed to be around for 6 months. When the Movies Online movie servers went down in the summer of 2008, we all thought it was going to be a short outage. But as time went on, and Lionhead was kind of vague about when they'd come back up, there was some unease in the TMO community. People had movies about to be released, big movies they'd been working on for months. I was perfectly happy to just do my little internet radio thing, and not even worry about it. But one night, I decided to just see what was out there in the world of video sharing software. I did a few hours of research, found a script that looked pretty good, and bought it, including hosting for 3 months. I figured that would cover things until the TMO servers came back up. Terrison came up with the name TM Underground, and we were in business. People liked it and began uploading movies. The general unease in the community was coming to a boil in the TMO forums, and people I liked and respected were being banned as the discussions became more heated. A few people suggested that we put up forums, and since I had an unused vBulletin license, I went ahead and put it up. People liked that too. The TMO servers did eventually come back up after a month or so, but a lot of people started to consider TM Underground their new filmmaking home. 5 months later, Lionhead pulled the plug on the TMO movie servers, and we were the only game in town. And here we still are.
TMU was not just a movies game alternative. TMU is a filmmaking community that welcomes all types of movies, from traditional machinima, animation, and real-time rendering software, such as iClone, MovieZoo, or MovieStorm, or anything its members can dream up. This is a movie about TM Underground, about the movies, directors, voice actors, and modders that make up the community, about its past, its present, and its future. Let's get started.
One of our favorite TMU movies of all time is J. Alfred Prufrock Considers the Infinite by Postmodern Chuck. It is a wonderfully low-tech, high-concept movie with inspired voice acting and artistic black and white cinematography.
We also love Garel's Invention by Gilga. It's a well-crafted and engaging film based on famous novella called Morel's Invention. The ending was absolutely mind-boggling. It's stunning, surreal, and thought-provoking.
No list is complete without Joseph K.W., the master of horror, and H.P. Lovecraft. His Shadow of Innsmouth is a TMO classic.
I remember seeing Anonymous by Act 3, Scene 24. It was a breath of fresh air. It's sort of raw, but well written and has some incredibly well-drawn characters.
So, now we're on to check-ins. Who wants to start?
Yeah, I'll go. So check it out, I did this gig at a local community college. They fixed up the auditorium pretty good, made it look like a small stand-up comedy venue. It was pretty cool. Thank you. Hey everybody, listen, this occasion is especially nice for me. You know why? Because it's the first time I get to call my mom and tell her I actually got into college. I made it, Mom! It took me 40 years, but I finally made it.
Well, there's a difficult question. I've got a few favourite movies on TMU. Death in Venice by Chat Noir. That's really, really high on my list. Saving Grace by Sish. They're both excellent movies. But I think if I had to choose one, then I'd have to go for the nostalgic option, and I'd have to go for Extinguished by Joseph Kwon.
I studied hard. I received a degree in engineering and got my first job on board a space freighter. But it got boring during the long hauls, so the crew found ways to pass the time. I used Seraphim. We all did. How was I to know that a hyperdyne relay would blow out then? I tried to fix it, but I couldn't see straight. The Seraphim, you know. I panicked. I couldn't think. So I used the escape craft. The only escape craft. I left my friends to die.
I think it was the first movie on TMO to make me really sit up and think, wow. You know, it was one of those movies. I mean, it inspired me to make a movie about the guy. And Joseph Kwon, to me, was just some random guy on the internet. But he became this, you know, what I aspired to as a filmmaker. You know, what Extinguished does is what all good machinima does, to me anyway. Is it made me forget about the fact that I was watching an animated computer movie. And really sucked me into the story. You know, it made me focus entirely on the story, the acting, the music. Everything in that movie, to me, it might be a nostalgic thing. And, you know, maybe it's aged with years and I've not seen it for a little while. But to me, that was everything in the movie was spot on, and it's still my favourite.
I think it's very difficult to single out a favourite TMU movie. Just because there's been so many great movies that have inspired me in so many different ways. In terms of pure storytelling cinema, I would have to go with Chat Noir's The Afflicted, because this one is probably the reason I'm still making virtual cinema movies today.
I wish I could explain, but I don't know how, except
I cannot help you, Palia.
I know.
It was one of those movies that you felt could not possibly be made in a $40 game with preset animations. But after watching it for the first time, it completely changed my attitude towards what could be achieved with the cheapest and simplest of tools at an artist's disposal. And the result was pure genius. Kate Lee's sublime writing coupled with Sherwin Liu's perfect score and some great voice acting from Lizard and Sailor Nightwing. The Afflicted was made before the introduction of Freecam in the movie Stunts and Effects Expansion Pack 2, which makes it all the more remarkable.
I like Cana, Denial, The Water in the Woods is a good one. One Last Breath, I love a good noir. A Nightmare in Hell is a great horror film.
What is my favorite TMU movie? Oh boy, that's hard. There's so many good ones. Can I choose 5? I'd say TR3, Memoirs of a Vegetable, Every Bullet Left, Postal 2, Gerbil Man Trailer, and Valentine's Day. They're all so well made, and you can tell a lot of hard work was put into them.
And what is it that I'm trying to accomplish? Well, it's simple. My dearest wish on earth would be to find out what my middle name is. As my name is Timothy C. Richmond III, I will fulfill my quest. Or may I get crushed by a car!
It's kind of a hard question because I don't have a favorite movie. I have a bunch of them. But if I did have to pick a favorite, I'd say it's a tie between Grindhouse Time by Bezer and Gutter Bitches by Shitten. Because those were the 2 films that got me back in the mood of making Machinima again.
Dismember me on my birthday.
Neutron, the beast from hell! Death Squad! Coming soon to this theater.
Those that are still alive are heading for an early grave.
Apocalypse Warriors.
Umberto Lucio's Night of the Cannibals. Rated X.
There's a lot of really good TMU movies to choose from. Some of my favorites include Haunter of the Dark by Big Strek, Clockwork by Ice Axe. I think if I had to choose one, I think the one I would end up choosing is Coming Home by Lizard. Lizard was one of the first people on TMU to make the switch to iClone. At the time it was iClone 3. And he had a really good forum thread that talked about the things that he was doing. And that and the finished product really served as a spotlight, as a focus on iClone. And for me, it was a big emphasis in my change from the movies over to iClone. And it made me aware that it was okay to look at new software, that it was okay to branch out and to work on improving my craft. So for me, I would go with Coming Home by Lizard.
Why is it that time seems to stand still for those who have nothing but time to waste? Every passing moment seems twice as long as the one before, giving me more time to think of her, giving me more time to wonder if she's ever thinking of me.
My favorite movie was A is for Alice. It was one of the earlier TMO films.
and it came out at a time when a lot of people were still basically making pointless chicken and zombie movies. It was really well written and well presented, and the voice acting was great. But the one thing that really stuck with me was the ending, because it was not only was it a gotcha ending, but it made extremely novel use of a particular scene available to the movies that the entire community had pretty much written off as cliche at that point. The guys who made this film were just so creative that they were able to take stuff that we'd seen a million times before and do it in a way that still made it seem really cool.
And you is for the moment that I understand the horrid destruction that came from my hand. You see, V is for virus, a common cold strain, and it mixes with element O's in the brain, producing a hybrid so deadly and quick, you're already dying when you realize you're sick.
When I think of classic machinima with the movies, the film that stands out is Valentine's Day, and close in second would be Sish's Saving Grace. Both these films inspired me to try to make something awesome with machinima.
Listen to me, Harper. We trusted you. You turned rat. You understand how it is. You're not gonna make that trial. Danny sends his regards. You fat fuck.
I hate how these wankers love to talk. Tell you the big plan. Oh, look how smart I am. Asshole. He'd have killed you if he wasn't such an arrogant prick.
I don't understand. I mean, that guy was a cop.
Was. Now, he's a stain.
Far too many to mention. Far too many to try and remember. I loved any movie that Rick Bogard, Trashman Dan or Mifune Kira made. I thought those three guys were just amazing. Also Yeagmaster, Nanette, Six-Headed Monster, Yuba Nooby. Their movies always made me smile. Mild Head Wounds movies. Well, they were just amazing to me. I loved them. I guess my all-time favourite would have to be Lens by Freda H. though. That movie just blew my mind and probably why I even started dabbling with TM.
What? No! What have you done?
My favorite TMU film. It's not one of mine, that would be too narcissistic of me. It's a film by Mac Wemyss, entitled Do You Like Joseph K.W. Movies? Yes. I don't mean, yes, I like my movies. I mean, yes, that is the true title of this film. And it's all about me trying to gain top chart positions on TMO by coercing people, threatening them, and even killing them to literally bump them off the charts.
But this one was the first one where I thought, yeah, this was quite good. It gave me a lot of encouragement going forward. But I did really appreciate everyone that helped me from the Filmic Collective, because I was basically an unknown noob at the time, and an exceedingly obnoxious one at that. I did offend quite a few people in the making of that movie. Sorry, Dulcie. But I am particularly grateful to Joseph Kwong, because he always supported me and sent really detailed replies whenever I messaged him, and was quite happy for me to use his movie was quite happy for me to use his name for the movie, which was great considering I was just like, I was a nobody. I could have done anything with that movie, but he was very trusting with it and very supportive, so I thank him for that.
It's so obvious, don't you see? You all claim to have killed Joseph Kwon. Maybe you all did.
I'm sorry. I failed to follow.
Stunt doubles. He sent lookalikes to blackmail directors so he was never in any danger. And when he ran out of stunt doubles, he sent Mel Ian. It's foolproof.
It's fantastic.
It's amazing.
Well, I have many favorite movies, but if I had to choose one I can think of off the top of my head, that would be Black Star Rising. I love watching science fiction, and it's amazing that you can just go about creating any kind, any way you want, and not have to explain the mechanics of how everything works. Just tell the story and entertain.
Yeah, well, for some of us, duty is something we don't shy away from, huh?
Now look, you son of a bitch. You know nothing about duty, Commander. You try walking a mile in my shoes, then maybe we'll talk. Now where's my ride?
Yeah, this way, sir.
I think the most memorable movie that I've made by default would have to be my music video for Re Your Brains by Jonathan Colton. And just because it really was the first movie I made that got any kind of real critical acclaim, and it's my most viewed movie easily, just based on the YouTube views that it's gotten, and really not a lot of harsh criticism, and the internet trolls have been kind.
Hey Tom, it's Bob from the office down the hall. It's good to see you, buddy. How have you been? Things have been okay for me, except that I'm a zombie now. I really wish you'd let us in.
My most memorable movie. Also a hard question because they are like your kids. You love them all equally. But if I had to mention any that made some sort of impact on me and or others, I'd have to say my Enigma Hero Chronicles series. I was very proud of them and how they turned out. First movies I'd ever made that were entirely crafted by me. Apart from the Enigma mods that were shared with me by Newbie. I'd written the stories, did a majority of the voiceovers, direction, soundtrack, sound effects, titles, etc. Blah blah. So when I'd completed these movies I felt rather accomplished to get through it all.
Well, well. Taking a wrong turn, swine.
Negative. What are the odds on the T-Rex?
The most memorable movie I believe I've created would have to be Postal, because it was fresh, it was different, and it was a concept that hasn't entirely been explored a lot. And I had a lot of fun making the movie too.
Kinda messing around My personal best so far is, without a doubt, the zombie apocalypse mockumentary, After the Dead. Extremely proud of that one.
So, down to business. We are now in August of 1988, and I haven't seen a single living soul in well over a year. And believe me, I've covered some ground north, south, east, and west. The major cities, they're still crawling with the undead. But some of the smaller towns and villages, well, they're just completely dead.
But the most memorable for me is definitely Bride of Grindhouse Time, which is a multi-platform animated compilation of false trailers for 1960s, 70s and 80s style grindhouse and B-movies. It was one of the last great community projects on TMU, and it gave me the opportunity to work with some of the people I admired and respected most on TMU. It was also an incredibly fun project, and one that let everybody's talent shine through on their own false trailers. It took several months to piece together, but it was a really well-oiled machine, and it ended up being an incredibly fun community experience for me, and one that I would very happily do all over again.
My favorite movie that I released on TM Underground would have to be the first 2 episodes of The Gray People, which I made in the movies. After its great critical response, I wanted to remake it in Movie Storm, and 2 years later it premiered at TMU Theater, but by that time things had shifted in my life, and I wasn't able to finish the project or run the theater anymore.
Repeat. All personnel, please clear landing pad.
Our work hours have doubled.
I know you guys think I'm the corporate devil.
You ready to make history, gentlemen?
There are things that we never want to let go. People we never want to leave behind. But through this unbelievable experience, I've learned that letting go isn't the end.
The most memorable movie I've created would have to be Sir Fartslot Episode 1, The Evil Pooh. The movie was about a superhero with super farting abilities, and I created him to be a part of Johnny X's superhero universe. I had a blast making the movie. As you can imagine, I'm a huge fan of toilet humor. The more farts, the merrier.
It seems that eating the food in Chef Lafayette's restaurant has caused this epidemic of poo monsters coming alive. I must investigate Chef Lafayette's restaurant at once. Sir Fartslot, away!
Yeah, 2006 when I got started, and here we are, here in the bus station, Greyhound station in Cleveland, Ohio, with Ben Tuttle, someone who I've been friends with since 2006. I've never been to math school, so I won't do the math. I'm still working on the movie stuff, so Team X, Johnny X, and a lot of voiceover.
I tasted ginger Titus lemon stars. Our lips and teeth you glued to ancient buds. Although we never met outside of words, you said between the seconds, minutes, hours. Stole your heart on Zion's toothless ark, where dog and dog were entertained.
My most memorable film would be my rendition of H.P. Lovecraft's The Shadow over Innsmouth. It was my first film using outside editing and effects, and my best received work. It was screened in Paris, Geneva, and most recently at the H.P. Lovecraft Film Festival just a few months ago. What makes this most memorable is the festival took place in my home city of Los Angeles, so this was the first time I was able to attend the screening of one of my films at a festival. And I was on stage with a panel of directors discussing our films. Couldn't get more memorable than that.
So this is the town of Innsmouth.
This is Innsmouth.
And the bus will continue its trip to Arkham at 8 p.m.?
Yes, I leave on time.
I won't be late. Where can I find some food?
The Gilman House.
I meant something I could take with me while I look around town.
There is nothing to see here.
Is there a local grocer's?
Down the road. First National Grocers.
Thank you. I'll see you at 8.
For me, it was the most memorable movie I made. It's two things. The stuff I did with Jesus Christ Superstar and our dearly departed friend Emerald Edge. Just doing a musical because it's never been done before. So I liked the idea that it was something different, and it was an incredible fucking challenge. I gotta freaking tell you. But I go back and I watch it and I go, you know what? I'm proud of that. And then The Story of Us, because it was a story that was just two characters that carried the whole film, talking and carrying it, and that to me is, I really love how simple it was. It was a genuinely sweet, small movie.
Hello?
Did I wake you?
Yes, but it's okay.
What time is it where you are?
It's 2:15. Why?
It's sunrise here.
Sounds lovely.
It is. It is not the length of life, but the depth of life.
You're Cordy Emerson. Another one of those days?
Can we meet?
Sure. Where?
Same as last time.
Ah, how I do love it there. See you soon.
Looking forward to it.
Me too.
Stir, beyond a shadow of a doubt. I think it's 47 minutes long. It took me a year and a half to make in 5 different installments. And in the end, I enlisted some of the best voice talent in the community, and I think told a really compelling story.
We'll expect you to have a list of those you wish to call and visit with. We will go over your requests for your next of kin, for your final meal, and for...
I want to see my wife. Just my wife. And after that, I just want to get this over with. You people started killing me 12 years ago. Now I just want you to hurry the fuck up and get it over with.
In December 2008, TMU hosted a live movie premiere in Second Life. A group of community members met in Phil Rice's theater to see the premiere of Dulcie's I Will Not Speak of It and Big Streck's Underpants Man 2, The Land Down Underpants. Good times were had by all, as members chatted, danced, and frolicked the night away. Then, in August 2009, D.L. Watson started TMU Theater, a virtual cinema where users could simultaneously watch films live-streamed to their computers while chatting with other users.
TM Underground is a community of filmmakers who watch other filmmakers' work and provide praise and critique. And being a live-action filmmaker myself, one aspect missing from this online community was the live interaction you'd get during a real-life premiere. I thought by having a real-time live premiere, the members of TM Underground could see how people reacted to their films as the film is played live in real time across the world. The theater was fairly popular. During a premiere, a movie would gather over 100 individuals from across the country. So, filmmakers are using the theater for each of their movies, even holding special events there. But to be honest, I'm not sure how many films premiered in total. I know it was over 200. But what I do know is that at one point I had streamed over 5,000 hours worth of content, which is massive. Basically, I did everything. I ran the broadcast, moderated the live chat room, managed the website, created the promotions, the graphics, managed the technical issues, and coded and hosted the website. It was a full-time job that I loved doing. At one point, I was hosting a movie premiere, while in real life, I was in a classroom taking a math course. My satisfaction was hearing the appreciation from the community about the theater. People kept using the service, and by doing so, it showed me that they love having their movies premiered that way. The most satisfying was when we got a huge turnout, sometimes the limit of what the chat room could support. Of course, it connected and networked myself with some of the greatest Machinima filmmakers, as I would have the privilege of seeing their work before anyone else.
Underpants Man here, and I endorse this movie. Actually, I haven't seen this movie yet, so it could be anything. It could be disgusting pornography, or, God knows, a snuff flick, or, a presidential debate. Can't imagine anything worse. Anyway, I heartily recommend it.
Captain John Hero. I'd just like to say that on behalf of myself and the crew of the Atlas, we heavily endorse this TMU movie and the entire TMU community at large. Isn't that right, fellas?
Roger that.
Aye, long live the TMU universe, and all that exists in it.
Hello, my name is Con Materazzi. I'm Don of the Flaming Spades Mafia family. And I'm Harry the Hitman. Go away, Harry, with your nasty Australian Alabama accent. This isn't an interview with the Barnyard Weekly. This is a video for the Great TMU project. Now scram, Mac! Yes, Mr. Commandant, sir. Now, where were we? Oh, yes. Oh, gee, I hope I look good.
You look fantastic, Mr. Commandant, sir.
Thank you, Sammy. Now, when I was asked to present a short clip for this project, I couldn't help but to accept. My autobiography book sales are down, and, well, bank robberies are not what they used to be. Wait, I am getting paid for this, right? I better be getting paid. The Dun don't like doing media for free.
Sir, don't forget the interview question. How is it to be a continuing character on TMU?
Ah, yes, right. Well, it all began back in 2007. I was bored one day, and whilst my henchmen were doing all my doity work, I thought, why not create a bunch of short films to document an average day in my very busy and lavish life? There was a time when Harry, my bumbling hitman, was mistaken for a terrorist in a library. In one episode, we visited Area 51. Oh yes, there was also the time when I defeated Robin Hood. And Sammy, you almost married a gorilla. Do you remember that?
Please, sir, I'm still getting over it. All the emotional trauma.
Now, after 13 episodes of my series spanning from '07 to 2015, I don't think I could ever give this up. There's so much interesting things going on in my life, because I don't like getting bored. I really like the attention the series brings me, and this whole series will be nothing without me. Now I've been on long service leave from mafia duties lately. However, now that I'm back in Melbourne, I'm sure you'll see more of me.
And don't forget me.
Shut up, Harry. This is about me now.
Yes, Pa. Well done, Mr. Commandant, sir. That was a brilliant interview. All the other directors from the Great TMU project will be pleased.
They better. If they're not pleased, a swift blow to the nether regions will silence their critique.
Oh, is this going to be on TV? Like them X Factor? Let me audition my song. No! My sheep don't want to get sheared.
Shut up, Harry.
I said it's a lonely night when... Ow!
Hello, TM Underground. This is Kid Million, star of Adventures of Kid Million. What's it like to be world famous, smart, and cute too? It's awesome! Thanks for watching and supporting our show. Now back to your program.
Wow. Well, really, what TMO and TMU did for me was it provided me with an outlet for my creativity that I really didn't have before. And because of that, I think it made me a lot more confident as a person. Because when I joined, I was a shy 16-year-old and had been lurking for years before that. I was too shy to even talk to anyone before that. But when I joined, I was a shy 16-year-old and I really wouldn't talk to anyone, whether in real life or on the forum. Although somehow it was easier on the forum because of, it wasn't like a real life situation. But yeah, I guess I really didn't know how to deal with other people at all. Like most teenagers, I was kind of quite socially inept. But I guess a combination of the praise that people were giving me for my movies and the experience of working with people such as voice actors, etc., made me a lot more comfortable in dealing with other people. And nowadays, I would say I'm just as confident as anyone else out there. So thanks, TMU.
I was searching around after I left the Movie forums, and I saw a significant post by a member called Beza, and he was saying that he lives in a small town. In fact, he lives in a small town that's not far from where I was born, although I've moved now. And he was saying that there isn't a large creative community where he came from, and being online, it gave him an outlet to meet people who had a similar mindset and who wanted to make movies and had a creative frame of understanding the world. And yeah, that made sense to me. It seemed valuable. It seemed valuable to offer that to people, and it seemed valuable to me, and it was something that I wanted.
What do I get out of making movies? It's just like there's something in my mind says, oh, you have this idea and I need to express it. So it kind of itches that, scratches that itch, I mean. It's not really for views or fame or anything like that. It's just basically I have an ambition to tell a story.
For us, TMU has always been a place where we can go to be our creative selves and meet other creative people.
At TMU, we were able to share our work, get advice on all kinds of problems we encountered during the production, and meet a diverse group of people and great collaborators.
I got word TMO was shutting down, and this one site was coming to run in its place. It, however, included movies created in software other than the movies game, plus allowed you to use outside editing. I felt this is where I fit in.
TM Underground was a huge turning point for me. I got more comfortable as a voice actor. I was feeling rejuvenated as a content maker. And I was getting clear ideas on what to do and what not to do when making a movie. And yeah, I am highly grateful that I'm able to do this kind of stuff thanks to TM Underground.
I enjoy making movies because I've always through my life had looked for a way to tell stories, mostly funny stories. And the first time I saw the Movies game and what I could do was just a revelation. And then of course I found everyone else who shared the same interest, and that was just awesome.
TMU has often saved me from going insane, to be honest. I may not be a particularly talented filmmaker, but I've always had that desire to tell stories through film and music. They're both things I've always been very passionate about, and to be a part of a community that's equally passionate about those things is both very reassuring and very satisfying to me. There's something about a community of dedicated, like-minded and passionate people that social network and media sites like Facebook, Twitter and YouTube just can't even come close to emulating. I keep hearing folks saying the forums are dead, and I sincerely hope not, because if that happens, I think that the creative spirit and camaraderie I've witnessed at places like TMU and TMO will die out too.
I participate in the community because I guess we all share a similar interest hobby. TMU is where we can meet and discuss different things that we have made, are planning, or just like to share with other like-minded folks. I've also made quite a few friends on TMU that I'll probably never meet or see in person, but really enjoy keeping in touch with. I have more respect for some of these people than I have for a lot of people that I have met and see regularly. A whole new circle of friends were gained from joining the TMU movie site and forums.
TMU has made a huge difference in my life. I made so many good friends, learned a lot about filmmaking, and collaborated with members like Joe Harp and Andy. It's been one hell of a ride so far, and I plan to continue being a member on TMU.
The first time that I reached out to anybody else in the community was to review my movies, just like everybody else. After that, I thought that I could help by reviewing other people's movies, and once I started working with other people making movies or doing VO and the like, the community bug bit me pretty hard, because like I said, I met some decent people. I met all these nice people, and then I started meeting some extraordinarily talented people, and that fascinates me. I love to surround myself with interesting and talented people, and this community, maybe that's not what they thought it would happen in the beginning, but some really talented people have come out of this community.
Right.
And that kept me hooked, is this meeting interesting and funny and talented and very sweet people.
I just like the idea that there was a bunch of creative people that were all doing very vastly different things, but we could still be creative as a group. And I know that sounds strange, but I like being a part of creative endeavors.
Oh, TMU has definitely affected my life. If you look at my Facebook page, the bulk of my friends there are from TMU. I'm very proud of the relationships I've forged at TMU, and whenever I watch one of our joint ventures, I remember all the hard work that went into its creation. It wasn't done for pay, or even for play. It was to pursue our passions.
So voice acting is just another way to have fun in the community, to contribute in the community, and also a great way to get other people involved in your movies, because really this type of creative endeavor is something that's best experienced together, and voice acting is just one more way to make it an experience.
Oh my gosh, I can't believe you're asking that. I've been in a lot of movies on TMO and TMU. Movies made and movies not made. Conservatively, it could be pressing 100. Frankly, I really should have hired a secretary to keep up with it all, but I've been in quite a few.
How many TMO films have I been in? Well, that's a good question. I'm not sure. I started in 2006, was active until maybe 2012 or 13. And I think at last count I had about 150. But there's a few that I've forgotten there. So I would kind of conservatively put it at about 200. And there were some films, like the Grayskull epic that was made by Rage, where I played about 6 or 7 different people. So it was kind of like working on several films at the same time.
So I would say over 100, which is pretty astounding because I never really thought about it in terms of total quantity. So I guess the short answer is a lot. I have been in a lot of movies.
How many movies have you guys acted in?
I think at last count it was probably 130 plus. Yeah, a lot of those were little bit roles. When I started early on, I would basically do voiceover work for anybody and everybody that asked. And then over time, I got snooty and hoity-toity and got a Hollywood attitude and would only do voiceovers for scripts that I had approved. I mean, I had to read the script to see if it was a good script.
I've done like maybe 10 or 15. Because I do the same thing, though. I only read scripts if, I wouldn't just do anything that anybody threw at me. That's probably why I did so few, is that I was really picky about what I was going to spend, what it amounted to at least 40 hours rehearsing a character, getting lines right.
So I'm going to go with a movie I did years and years ago, one of my first ones called The Black Widow. And the reason I really liked that one was just because I'm not often cast in any type of villainous role. So I got to have fun with that one. I just really enjoyed it. It was fun writing it and fun acting in it. And Another New Dawn was just brilliant in it. So that made it definitely part of the experience. Part of my enjoyment was working across from such a great and talented actor. I was thrilled to get him in the movie too. So The Black Widow by Dulcie would be my favorite role and or best performance.
My favorite role? Well, there are so many to pick from. I think I preferred doing comedy, so it might be a comedic role. Possibly Bud Bundy's Mullets. Dr. Frankenstein, Plastic Surgeon. That was a lot of fun. I did enjoy working a lot with Kate Lee in The Afflicted, which was a remake of another version that she had done with Lizard in the title role. That was a good one. There's just so many, so I can't really pick one.
My favorite character of all time was Buck McInnes from MGM's Rio Diablo, a Western. It also starred Goof Parade as Joe McInnes, that's Buck's brother, and Ms. Guppy as the notorious, steamy, sultry Ruby Sanchez, who somewhat played the brothers against one another.
Who is your favorite voice actor? Oh, that's easy. Dulcie, because Dulcie is everyone. Because she does so much, and she's also very particular about what she does. So I'd say Dulcie. That's just...
Andy has a crush on her.
Shut up.
If I had to pick one, it would be Lizard. Because I was just so blown away by Lizard in the beginning. He's one of the reasons that I wanted to do VO. But Goof Parade's versatility goes beyond just VO. Well, so does Lizard's, but Goof is a musician and a writer and an actor and voiceover artist and a singer. And so, I mean, as far as versatility, I would say Goof. As far as just my favorite voice, Lizard.
Matt Quames, he's reliable, he does great work, switches accents on a dime.
Now, I won't tie it down to one favorite actor. I have many favorite actors. Another New Dawn, Goof Parade, Blazely Dragon, Emerald Edge, Dulcie, Jet City Woman, Ms. Guppy, many others. But listen, it's not about us. It's about breathing life into these characters through these vocal incantations.
Well, my favorite voice actor, you can't just pick one. But that being said, there were so many good ones, and the ones that stood out for me were the ones that stood out for everybody. K4 owns all, was always at the top of his game, always sat down and gave his best performance, and he could give a very good performance. And another new dawn. I think he inspired me the most because early on I started noticing his abilities and his ability with accents, his the way he could change his voice, and his ability to play serious roles and funny roles was just fantastic. So those two guys really stood out for me, and maybe I'd give the little slight nudge to A&D for his true versatility there.
I never aspired to be any type of voice actress. I started because I needed to get sound into one of my movies, and it seemed like the easiest way to do it was just to do it myself. And then, yeah, as you move along with some acting, you get more and more courage. You see other people doing it. You have people approach you, and that's very flattering. And you want to do your best for someone. It's someone else's movie. It's their baby. And there's something about that that inspires you to push yourself and really try to give them the performance that they need to bring that character to life.
What do I get out of it, you asked? I get to live this precarious fantasy life through all of these many diverse characters being created by these talented individuals out there. It's a big payoff. It's a kick. It's a rush. And I like it. I find your solution highly illogical. He's not looking for a solution. He's looking for an answer, you green-blooded, pointed-eared bastard. You remind me of Ken White. So yeah, I enjoy voiceovers. I get to boldly go where few go. Aye, and you can shove the phaser up your ass.
What do you get out of voice acting? Most people, you hear your voice in an avatar. You bring it to life.
What do we get out of it? I don't know, it's just kind of cool. I mean, really, there's nothing deeper than this sounds like, fun, make-believe voiceover stuff. And then with movies, you get to just tell a good story. I'm pretty simple that way. You?
In the beginning in the movie community, I think the best part about it was being able to help out other people. Sure, there's a bit of narcissism in it, in that, look, people come and say, oh, that was great, blah, blah, blah. But I think in the beginning it was just to help people. Later on, it was just because, like Jay said, it's fun, it's playtime, the older you get, the less likely you are to play make-believe, and it was just a lot of fun to play make-believe.
What do I get out of voice acting? Well, when I got into it back in 2006, I had to do something because my mother was sick with cancer, and it was on my mind all the time. I had to find something to keep busy, and this came along, and I thought it was great because I hadn't really done any acting since I was a young man in my 20s. So I enjoy it. I like hearing my own voice, and I like participating in these projects with other people because I thought that was an excellent way of sharing all of our talents.
A well-crafted mod can really draw your attention to the film and make it memorable.
The modders and content creators really are rock stars of the community. They take what we envision and make it into a reality, and many times going beyond what we initially were hoping for from our script. So really, without their input and involvement, many movies would be just bland. So I am personally very, very thankful for their talents and efforts in the community.
I began modding for the game primarily for selfish reasons to start with, as a means to enhance my own film ideas.
I'd been doing 3D game assets modeling for a while, and I got really interested in the whole concept. I found TMWS, the Modders Workshop, and that's where I got, really surprised about how a lot of people were looking at making tools, adding new content, and it was crazy. I could feel the passion some people had for the mods, And I met all those people that wanted, new stuff. And I thought to myself, well, I could do this. So got the tools and just started. It was kind of cool, actually.
I got the game on Mac when it came out, and I wanted to make a Western, so I was searching for costumes and hats, and couldn't find what I was looking for, so I asked on forums, and the answer I got the most was to try and learn to mod, so I could make them myself. So I had to learn from scratch, and it took me 5 or 6 months to learn the basic things. A bit after that, I started to get some requests and end up making mods and never made my movie.
So the modders' idea of doing what they do for no money is I think, a part of the whole TMU ethos, which is that it's everybody gives what they can to help out other filmmakers.
I like to think that all the modders, made a difference in keeping the community alive for a lot longer than it would have otherwise. It's funny, after all these years, TM is still being used a lot thanks to new modders and mods that keep popping out all the time.
Hopefully modders empowered filmmakers to get much closer to their vision in their end result and save them some time and heartache along the way.
I think the modders have stretched the lifespan of this game considerably. Without mods, I don't think people would still try to make movies with this game.
I can't claim to be an artist. My focus was always more technical oriented. I think if there was one potential breakthrough that I might have provided, it was probably the set dressing to prop utility. While it wasn't actually a difficult technical achievement on its own, the concept of it saved filmmakers a lot of time. A person would dress up their set however they wanted in the game, save it as set dressing, then use my utility to create a single prop out of it, and then bring that over to the open blue screen to position it around their actors however they wanted.
For me, being able to make a new actor's head, using a Star Maker head, the head of a character from another game, or even one made from scratch in Blender, and putting it in the game and seeing it emoting, in my opinion, has opened up a lot of possibilities for the movie makers.
The ultimate you can't do anything without it mod, which was Terrason's blue screen. That one was the cornerstone of modding. That one alone made it possible for so much more than the game, could allow. One of the other big breakthroughs when one night Stephen Dyson, Gleam, and I think Risto was there too. We were on Skype chatting. I had been asked to join the DCMF team for a while. They thought I had talent for some reason. I don't know. The fools. Anywho, we were discussing about how to make a car an active working prop. That was a real challenge. All the cars at the time were static. So we hit a few ideas and it got really intense. Gleam would ask a few questions, pop out of the conversation, pop back in a few minutes later and tell us he might be onto something. And it was just snowballed from there until I think Stephen got in and he said it was working. It was working. I didn't know what he was talking about. Then he all started raving and I'm going, what? So then it hit me. A new car was actually running in the game. At the time, the wheels didn't rotate, but that was nothing. Nothing had like this had been seen before. To actually see it in the street and doing all the stuff the regular car was doing. Now that was magic.
Was there a modding community, and was it different from the filmmaking community? There was indeed a separate modding community. The one I was familiar with was known as DCMF, the Director's Cut Modding Foundry, which was run by Gleam. This was where we could bounce technical ideas off one another and beta test new utilities or techniques amongst ourselves before revealing them to the wider community.
I guess you could say that once TMWS closed and DCMF surfaced, there was a branching out of sort. We got involved in the community as more like a service provider, I think.
I don't know about others, but in my case it sure feels like a community. I had so much help while I was learning how to mod from so many different modders. And since most of the tools were made for PC, I had to ask for help for the great majority of my mods, or they would have never came out. So if that's not a community, I don't know what is.
Well, Fortune and the occasional babe. What? No one else got? Oh, okay. Personal satisfaction is what I get out of modding. I just love to see what I do work or not in the Machinima universe. I have to admit, I'm a sucker for compliments. I know I look like this very humble servant of the community, but deep inside, there's this attention whore screaming to get out. What? It's out already? Damn!
Besides the obvious benefit of helping myself create better-looking films, I found it personally rewarding to be able to write computer programs for creative purposes. Nerd alert, I know, but as a programmer by profession, it's much more fun to write C++ programs that manipulate 3D models for films than it is writing Java web applications for work.
Modding has become one of my favorite pastime for sure. It's a lot of work, and sometimes it's very frustrating. But seeing my mods being used in a movie is really worth it.
Welcome one and all to the star-studded, action-packed first annual TM Underground Ollie Awards.
For me, the Ollies was a chance to do something as a community. Throw off the shackles of our TMO origins and really become what we were, TMU.
I think also the purpose of the Ollies was to just celebrate the interesting wave of films we had coming in at the time. Primarily from, we had multiple different platforms of films. We had films being made with the movies, films being made with MovieStorm, iClone, different softwares. And it was a really great opportunity to just celebrate this really great wave of films that were coming in. And I think by having an award show, it kind of gave them a platform for more people to see them.
The Ollies was named after an individual named Ollie, who would review many, many films. And he didn't write exposés, but he would encourage each and every person to film on. And that's the intent of the Ollies. It's just a way of saying, film on.
Oh, God, so many people had involvement. It was a community collective. If I have to narrow down the three individuals I remember primarily working with on the project, it would have been the three Ks: Killian, K4, and Ken.
That the Ollies even happened is due in very large part to Tom Foster and Killian. Between the two of them, talking back and forth, they basically came up with the idea of having a community-wide award show, celebration. The name, as I understand it, came from K4, but all of the work was done by Tom and Killian.
The Ollies was not a one-man show. For instance, there was MGM, who hosted the Ollies as well, who gave it that flamboyant atmosphere of being down on the red carpet, and Nori joined him, and they had a great banter back and forth. And I'll tell you, Nori had created theme music, a flurry of musical cacophony that just captured the excitement of the moment.
For both of the Ollie broadcasts, 2009 and 2010, what I was doing was very much akin to what a ringmaster does at a circus.
K4 was our host for years 1 and 2. K4 was an absolute star. I think in the first year he broke his arm prior to the actual awards show.
He spent Saturday in the hospital. Here it is, the big show, and we don't know, what the story is with K4. I mean, he's got a broken arm. It's not like, he's in a coma. But we don't know, is he going to make it or not? So, we're scrambling for thoughts. If K4 can't make it, who is going to be the announcer? It was bad. But Sunday morning, there's K4. He's out of the hospital. His arm is in a cast. He's on heavy pain medications. But he's going for it, baby.
Before we went on air for the Ollies, I had fractured my arm in 4 places. That's right, 4 bones, totally broken, and I was in excruciating pain and high on morphine. It was a good show.
So, without further ado, ladies and gentlemen, the best picture on TMU for the past year. First year, Nukester and Sish were the big winners. I think Nukester won like 4 in a row. Sish, in year 1, won a ton of awards for Saving Grace, including Best Film and Best Director. And the same thing happened in year 2, where Chat Noir, Kate Lee and Sherwin Liu, were probably the biggest winners with 4 or 5 in various categories, from writing to music to the actual films themselves.
For Moretti. For Falcone. For Conti. For Melanie. And her unborn child.
However, I think my favourite personal moments from my time here are the 2 Ollies ceremonies. And I remember them because of the feeling of excitement, not just with me, but all over the TMU site. Everyone was talking about the Ollies, and the ceremony, it felt like an event that you couldn't afford to miss. And I have different reasons for liking each of the 2 ceremonies. I think the first one I really enjoyed because it had this sense of spectacle and novelty that I hadn't really experienced before. Like K4 as the host, I thought he was absolutely fantastic. Listening to it made it feel like a real event. It was great. And it was nice to hear from people that I hadn't heard from before, like Kate Lee and Sherwin Liu. And I think my reason for enjoying the second ceremony was a bit more selfish, since I won 3 Ollies for my movies that year. So that was a hugely proud moment, and it was something that I'd been working towards and to get the reward at the end of it was really satisfying and really humbling, considering some of the movies that I was up against.
What was my favourite Ollies moment or experience? I think it was probably the period after that first awards show we had, and all the hard work was finally over, and the community was able to enjoy this amazing party-esque atmosphere.
But no, I thought he did a really good job, and I think everybody was deserving, especially you, Sish. I mean, all those awards up there. Even though you knocked me out of a few categories, there's no hard feelings.
Thank you, DL.
Yeah,
but
there's no hard feelings. He said through gritted teeth. Yeah.
I think that the two Ollies we had were amazing. Hopefully there'll be more. But either way, I hope that it left a good impact. It inspired good filmmaking. We honoured films that needed the recognition, that wouldn't have got it otherwise, and it brought together the community in solidarity, and that was the purpose of it. And I think it did that job very well. So there we go. The Ollies.
I keep hearing that machinima, virtual cinema, animation, whatever you choose to call it, is dead. Why? Who says it is? You know, who actually believes that crap? At the beginning of the 20th century, somebody whose name has completely skipped my mind famously said that moving pictures had no future. And yet here we are a century later, still making and enjoying cinema in all of its glorious forms. So screw you, naysayers. I don't think we've even scratched the surface yet regarding what we can create and or achieve. And I believe that the real beauty of virtual cinema is that it's ours. You know, it can be as fun or as serious a creative outlet as you want it to be. It can spell hope for the truly gifted or entertain the masses in its simplest forms. It can be absolute genius or plain bloody awful, but it'll always be ours. So I hope to see TMU become the online community for all virtual cinema enthusiasts, you know, working on all platforms and in all fields. And I believe that one day virtual cinema will get the respect and recognition it deserves. And I believe that TMU will play a central role in making that happen.
Can go either way. It depends on how do you raise the banner. Anywhere you go, if you're a fan base of something, you're raising the banner for whoever you're a fan of or whoever you're following. I think we need to get more major events or something like that, like the 48-hour film competition or any other like major things. Yeah, I think so. If you want to attract interest, you gotta expand outward and raise a banner.
I'd like TMU to evolve so that new engines that came out, the people that were participating in them and making movies, would feel welcome and would feel that they got a home at TMU. I would obviously like to have a bit more female participation. That was the rule in the past. There were a lot of female members of TMU, and some of them were fantastic filmmakers, and they've moved on to other projects. So that would be a great thing to see more women about and more young women.
I really hope it gets busy and takes off again like it did back then. I used to have so much fun on the forums and making movies and sharing with like-minded folk. If this can happen again for a brand new generation of young or older movie makers, that will be outstanding. I believe there are a lot of people watching, reading and lurking about on TMU, but just won't pluck up the courage or interest enough to post a comment. They need to come out of the shadows and share whatever skills and camaraderie they can with the rest of us. Long live TMU, and massive kudos to the man that has kept it going, Ken White. Without him, we'd all be fucked.
I hope to see new members join up and previous members come back. It would be nice to see this place jumping with activity.
A vision for the future. I don't think it's a good idea to imagine TMU returning to some sort of former glory, because yeah, it was a great time, but now I think that time has passed. And in terms of the site moving forward, I think we need to focus on what's happening now, as opposed to what happened before. So, to me, it's unlikely that it's ever going to be quite as busy as it was before. But what I think we can do moving into the future is we can reach out and we can show people what's unique about TMU. And that to me is, well, yeah, we're no longer exclusive to the movies. In fact, most of our members have stopped using it now and have moved on to software such as iClone, which is a good thing in its own way. But what remains and what to me is unique about TMU is that sense of encouragement and that sense of support that kept me going 7 years ago. So as long as that remains, then I think we'll be fine.
TMU will continue to be our clubhouse, the go-to place for help in getting that indispensable mod or that memorable voice talent, or just a helping scripting. And as the filmmaking tools evolve, TMU will still be there as our nexus for our needs and as a showcase for our talents.
The future of TMU. What will the future of TM Underground be? Beats the hell out of me. I've always said from the beginning that the way I see my role in the community is as the guy who built the playground, put up some swing sets and monkey bars, and a little sandbox for people to make their little castles in. Beyond that, it's up to the community. What they will do, what they want to do with what we have provided to them. I'd certainly like to see the community explode into action-filled excitement, people making movies, all kinds of good stuff like that. But the truth of the matter is I have no control over that. All I can do is continue to support the community in my way and give people the tools as a community to do what they want to do. I can say that I will continue to support the community in my way as long as there is a community, as long as there are people who want to talk on the forums and chat and listen to stupid internet radio and make movies and comment on movies and all the things we do. But the future of TM Underground is the community.
Long live the you. That's all for now.
And, Mr. Weems, when was the last time you released a movie on TMU?
This interview's over.